Hi! Today I'm going to show you everything that I made in July. I managed to make quite a few things this month, which is surprising because it was pretty busy with work and home renovations. The first thing that I finished was I made the Ruffle brunch set. These are the shorts from the Ruffle brunch set. That's the back. This is the front. It does have pockets, which is really nice, though the pockets kind of flap forward and back. They're kind of annoying, but I do like having them. And then in the back here, I just added a little bit of ribbon just so that I can tell when I'm putting them on what's the back. I made the Ruffle brunch set out of a bed sheet that I got from the thrift store. It was like a pale yellow color with this floral pattern on it, and I dyed the fabric blue and made this set out of it. And I've used up the rest of the fabric making various other things, which you will see as well. These shorts I made longer than the pattern wanted you to make the shorts. Instead of cutting it at the cut line, I cut it at the lengthen and shorted line. I like shorts to be a little bit longer, just so that I feel like a bit more covered. Because these are a more relaxed fit, they fit pretty well, and they're very comfortable. The top of the Ruffle brunch set, the tie front top has been really big lately, really popular. And I'm glad that I tried it out, but I don't think that it's for me. It's still out of my comfort zone. I finished the neckline differently than the pattern wanted you to because my favorite way to finish necklines is different than the pattern wanted you to. For the sleeves, I did add the elastic, but I took the elastic out because I don't like elastic squeezing my arm. I don't know if I just measure the elastic wrong all the time. It's not as comfortable as I would like it to be. Unfortunately, I already got some paint on the top, which isn't a deal breaker for me. I would recommend Ruffle brunch set by Matchy Matchy, the pattern. It was very fun to make. The shorts fit so well. I'm probably gonna make more pairs because they're just so comfortable. The next thing I finished making in July is these shorts, which I did not add a bit of ribbon in so I can tell easily what the front and back is, but you can tell because the pattern here is thinner than this side and the butt takes more space, so this is the back. It's the Bow Pants by Robert Woods. I will link the pattern below. This pattern was on sale in June and I bought it because I really love the bow dress that I made for my birthday. And so I wanted to have similar shorts that I could wear underneath the dress if I feel like I want a little bit more coverage. The fabrics I used was some of the leftovers from the Ruffle brunch set. And this was a dress that I got at the Goodwill bins, and this was a pair of my husband's old scrubs. I am making a video on the process of making these, so that will be coming in future. So I'm not going to talk about these too much, but I am going to make another pair, and I'm going to make a pair for me, and I'm going to make a pair for my sister's fiance, and I might even make a pair for my husband because they're unisex. The pocket on these is much nicer than the pocket on the brunch set because it's on the outside, so it doesn't touch your skin, so it's not uncomfortable. That is the second thing I made this month, and if you want to know more about it, you'll have to watch the video that I'm going to put out about making this. The next thing I made is not a make from scratch thing, it's an upcycling thing. I was struggling with the heat. The air conditioning was broken at work. I don't have air conditioning at home, but work is supposed to be reprieve, from the heat. But when I made this shirt, it was 34 degrees in the day, and then it only cooled down to 18 at night. So the house was real hot, and I was real uncomfortable at work because all my blouses were too heavy. My sister gave me a button-up top, and I altered it into this top, which I think is pretty cute. But the most important thing is it's lightweight, and this is cotton. So it's very comfortable for at work, and it's still business casual. I do have to wear a tank top underneath it because I made it a little bit too short, but I'm okay with that because it's still cooler than the other tops that I have. I accidentally cut off the top button, but I can always add a snap if that bothers me. It doesn't bother me enough to care. The next thing I made was I made the Elisia bow dress by Robert Woods, who I guess you can tell is one of my favorite pattern designers right now. So I made the Elisia bow dress, but I only made a top version of it. And this will be in that bow video that I previously mentioned with those bow pants. I made this to wear to work. I won't be able to wear it to work because I made a mistake on this last row. I accidentally flipped this pattern piece. I sewed them all upside down. So the waist was too short. It wouldn't attach to the top. I had to cut from the top to make the radius bigger so that it would fit into the blouse, which took off about 1/2 inch of length and makes it a little bit too short for me to wear comfortably to work. And also these fabrics are thicker than I expected them to be, so it's too warm for the summer too. I will still wear this in my personal time, especially once fall hits. The fabrics I used for this one this is a pillowcase that I got from the thrift store. This is a denim dress that I talked about in my pattern de-stash video where I wanted to use up all my fabrics, and instead of making a wrap top I used it in this. And then this is a rayon, which I do not recommend using in this type of pattern because rayon stretches very weirdly and it doesn't work very well for patchwork. But this is a pair of pants I got from the Goodwill bins. Same with this I got from the Goodwill bins. So this was all recycled and it's a pretty cute top. I'm gonna make more of these, but I'm not gonna mess up when I'm working on the bottom tier. I'm not gonna flip that pattern piece anymore. The next thing that I made was I crocheted a top for my little sister for her 30th birthday. Yes, she just turned 30. It was her 30th birthday. I crocheted her the valla top. She kindly sent me some footage of her wearing that. I used some yarn that I upcycled. I got this really weird looking sweater from the thrift store, but the yarn was 100% cotton. And once I unraveled that sweater, the yarn was so soft. It's like really high quality yarn. I had to take it apart a few times, but I did manage to get it to fit her well, though I misunderstood the measurements of the armhole, so I had to take that apart too and add some length to the straps on both sides, and then do the finishing edge stitch after that. I finished this when we went on a family camping trip, and it was very fun and a very good portable project to bring with me. I enjoyed the construction method, though the puff stitch that is used for one of the rows is very hard on my wrist, so it took me a really long time to make this, even though it should be a relatively quick project, because I had to keep taking like week-long breaks because my wrist was really bothering me. She really likes that top. I really like how it looks on her. I have enough yarn left over from taking apart that sweater to make one for myself too, so I may do that in the future because it's real cute and it's a nice layering piece. The next thing I made is I made 5 doilies, coasters for my living room. Well, 4 for the living room, 1 for my office. I made this out of white yarn that was left over from making the Sophie top that I showed in my last everything I made in this time period video. I still have so much of that yarn left over, but I made 5 of these using a free pattern. I'm not going to go into too much detail about these either because I am working on a living room makeover and this is part of that, but it was white, I dyed it green, and I just used less of the rows and added a picot stitch around the outside. I think it's really cute and it works really well as a coaster. After that, I edited 1 curtain and then made 2 curtains for the living room makeover. The curtain that I edited, it is a curtain that I made a few years ago. I cut the curtain off because I didn't like how the brown looked, and I got a tablecloth, a green tablecloth from the thrift store, and I cut it in half and sewed it to the existing curtain that's left over because I wanted to use the grommets at the top. And I was using that as a curtain for a few years, but I also had this bunting that I crocheted that was like draped over the curtain rod, and that was looking really messy, so I just sewed those onto the curtain. Now it looks much neater. And then the second curtain that I finished, I pieced together all of my scrub and denim scraps and made these curtains, and then I dyed them green. I kind of regret dyeing them green. I liked how they looked before. the light shining through them was much prettier before, I think. Now it's kind of too dark for the light to shine through as well. I really like piecing together curtains like this because it looks like stained glass windows and it's just gorgeous. I love it. I'm gonna cover all my windows and curtains that I made this way, using up my scraps. I do wish that I hadn't dyed them. Maybe they will fade in the sun. And the next pair of curtains that I made again for the living room makeover, but I ended up putting it by my back door, and that used up the last of this bed sheet that I made the brunch set out of, and some other scrappy bits that I had left over. So those are blue, and that's hanging in my back door window, which hasn't had a curtain since I moved in. So it's really nice to have a curtain there because the neighbors could see right into our house. My husband says I'm paranoid, but I hate it when people can see me. I love having curtains in the windows, especially if they're sheer, so I can see out, but they can't see in. I love that. So we finally have a curtain there, which also really helps with the heat wave because it blocks some of the light. The last thing that I made is I made a quilted mat for going under the weights in my living room, using up some quilts bits that I hand quilted using a back stitch, and I also used up the last of my flannel scraps in that little mat, and so I'm pretty pleased with it. But it works well for its purpose of being a barrier between my weights and the floor. That is everything that I've made in July 2024. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video and that it inspired you to make something out of thrifted materials. And I will see you next time. Bye!